Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
All right. So, welcome back to Public Disclosure's coverage of Contact in the Desert 2025 Event Horizon. Fun for me. This was actually my first UFO conference. I did plenty of Comic-Cons when I was in the Hollywood world. This is a little different. It's weird for me, seeing all the people that I've interacted with or watched or idolized in a certain way, being in the same room with such great minds like Stephen Bassett, who we're sitting down with today, who's you've been in the game so long that the game is I don't know, it's
If you sit by the river long enough, you will see the bodies of your
yes,
enemy
yes,
flowing by.
yes.
In this case, you're talking about disclosure. If I sit by the river long enough, I will see disclosure flowing down the river. By the way, so so before this, you did Comic Cons.
Yes.
Well, those things are like 10 times bigger than
Yeah,
this.
oh yeah.
Okay, so this must be okay.
Well, I never did it like a media training, like interview after interview after interview after interview.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I ever did that, or was on stage introducing people. So that was the first time I've ever introduced anyone on stage like that. He was there. I was shaking before it. It was
Yeah.
yeah, I got a little nervous. It was
I've
the
never
first time.
been to one. Never been to one. I think there was one in New York recently. I happened to be there at the same time, and there was some people in cosplay on the subway, and they said there was like 200,000 people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still got a ways to go before we can compete with cosplay and Comic Con. It's all right. That's all right. We'll take our time.
The contact's a good spot. It's like-minded people all together, sharing ideas, but also what the next play is going to be. And speaking of that, with all these whistleblowers, like, Dr. Gregory Rogers from NASA, Matthew Brown coming from, that Immaculate Constellation, which we were at that hearing with where that document was entered into congressional record. Since the last hearings in November, what's the next stages in having another hearing? I know there was supposed to be one, and then it was canceled last minute. Do you know what happened there?
I have secondhand information about that, but to get back to something earlier you said, I think it was a Gladys Knight song. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's raining witnesses, hallelujah. All right. I mean, they're turning up faster than I think we can actually kind of deal with them in a sense.
Right.
And let me say this: I am not going to encourage anyone, whether they're working in the military or government, or they've retired from military and government, to come forward. Right? That's a decision they have to make. But I can say this: the level of risk and the bar for coming forward is now getting very, very low.
Right.
And so, not surprisingly, people are stepping over that bar, which doesn't mean that they don't have maybe some issues, right? It's not that simple, but still, it's nothing like it was.
Right.
And so, this accumulation of witnesses is putting huge pressure on the truth embargo, pushing at it. It's only so many of these people. The idea that there's just so many people you could have come forward like that. Even former military or people that are coming forward and saying I'm a contactee, like Jim Semivan.
Right.
And at some point, that just it's going to crash. But okay, and so in terms of what's happening on the Hill, there are people like yourself and others that are actually up there way more than me. I'm watching kind of at a distance. Plus, I'm checking all the news articles, which they really cover it.
Yeah.
And so my understanding is that there's been a little shuffle on the subcommittee. People have been taking different roles. Certain Burchett was very prominent. Nancy Mace was very prominent. And now Anna Paulina Luna is really prominent.
Very.
Not just because she's on the committee that will probably take some more witness testimony, but because, again, another milestone. The Chairman Comer says, let's set up a task force to classify federal secrets. That's actually the name of it, by the way.
It's crazy. It's the craziest task force name I've ever heard.
Well, there have been some very limited attempts, to try to create some secrecy reform. They never go anywhere, virtually never go anywhere. And nothing that blatant as task force on classifying federal secrets. So, by the way, technically, they have a 6-month mandate initially, which they just extended another 6, which is cool. So that, but basically, in order to declassify the federal secrets, you need about 2 or 3 decades. Fortunately, but they're just going after a few,
Right.
and they pick some low-hanging fruit, which I think was very smart. JFK documents, which everybody wants, right? It's a much smaller issue than the ET issue, but it's kind of a personal thing with American people, and they started getting documents. They put out some demand letters. I think they'll get more. People are expecting the smoking gun thing to come out right away. They may be shocked. They may end up being confirmatory of the basic, who knows? But the point is, we want those docs, right?
Right.
All right. The public shouldn't be left to speculate about issues of great import to them simply because the government is inconvenienced. So that's happening. I know MLK documents, RFK documents may very well be turning up soon, which just elevates her status and the status of the task force.
Right.
They also want to get the Epstein documents.
Yes.
I'm suggesting that could be a tougher gig.
Yeah, I think that's going to be
only because, I mean, it's not like the subject matter is major national security, but the people involved, it could be extremely awkward.
Yeah.
But I don't. She's not delaying, I think, going after the UAP material and the disclosure process. So right now, things are at a place they've never been before. This task force is got subpoena power if it wants it. And so, boy, if I'm inside manager on the truth embargo, I've got to be thinking, I need to start preparing for my post-truth embargo life, you know, right? Maybe take a couple of extra courses or something, because it's going to end. The other thing is that you're getting more politicians are getting engaged. I know Representative Burleson has gotten a little more involved. He started out pretty much a basic skeptic, but reasonable, and you can see him kind of coming around. And there was this moment in the briefing that was put on by UAP Disclosure Fund with the subcommittees of the committee's sanction and participated, where you had 6 individuals present for a while and get asked a few questions by the moderator. And one of those witnesses was Eric Davis, who that was kind of a, I don't recall Eric Davis being in that situation. Maybe he has been, but I don't know if he's testified before Congress.
I don't think so. We've been calling for it for a while.
Yeah. But he is an interesting guy with an interesting past. He's been in everything. Kind of thinking he's kind of the little bit wild and crazy scientist, right?
So,
but real. I mean, he's been involved in the heavy duty secret stuff, including remote viewing and so forth. Almost everything. It's like he's the guy. We're going to do this crazy stuff or whatever. Very exotic. We need Eric, right? So Gallaudet testifies. I mean, not testifies, but speaks, and then Dr. Davis speaks, and then it goes to some questions, and some of them came from the moderator, but Eric Burleson was right next to him, and so he decided to ask a question. And I thought this was so cool because he's such a nice guy, and he's very calm, doesn't get too worked up, and he just says, "Well, I've heard that there's a number of different kinds of maybe he said aliens or extraterrestrials."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, that's good. So I don't know what people expected, but Eric just looks at him and goes, "Oh yes, we have the insectoids, we have the reptilians, we have the Nordics, and of course the Greys."
Right.
And he may have called the insectoids insectilons or whatever the hell. And I'm just sitting there. Well, I haven't seen that happen in the Rayburn building before, or any congressional building, and it's on camera being live streamed. And so if I'm a truth embargo manager that's supposed to keep the whole thing secret, I'm sitting there going, "Oh no, this is not good. What are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So that was a cool moment. I love that.
Yeah,
and
that was
then
a good one.
There was something else that happened. Again, you're asking about kind of where things are going,
right?
And again, I'm getting it from the outside view. I can't give you the first hand. You know, we went to lunch and we talked for hours, but a very impressive woman by the name of Anna Brady Estevez was on the panel. I'd never heard of her.
Yeah, I had never either.
She launches into a fairly lengthy description of what she's doing and what's happening and so forth. And I didn't quite get all of it, but I've talked to some other people, and she was working for the government, and she was in charge of something very heavy. I don't know. I wish I knew. I'm sorry, but she had a pretty substantial position. She left it. I think she left it, and immediately, because of her extensive background, she has degrees in engineering. She went to Yale. She's also been involved. She has a very substantial career and a lot of contacts. Immediately started setting up a very, very large tech fund to do technology of alternative nature, but also connected to UAP. And she's backed by serious people. Right. And I think the entity they created was a pretty good entity. It's called Deep Tech. Right?
Yeah.
And I looked at it a little bit more. I think she is about to become a thing, meaning I don't know how to describe it. You know, there are these funds out there, and usually they're very male dominated, and they do this, they do that. This is pretty much a woman dominated program coming from that perspective with huge clout. And I think once it gets more public, she is going to be a major player on this field. She's absolutely brilliant. So that was exciting to me. That happened there. So then, see, anything happen? No. And so, okay. And with respect to the hearings, those that are following the political situation, which I have to do, just it comes with a job.
Right.
It's not exactly stabilizing yet. And then we have serious matters still overseas, non-trivial stuff. I mean, Ukraine smuggled some drones into Russia, was able to get them by truck or something near a major base 3,000 kilometers away and destroy 40 Russian big-time bombers and creating quite a scene. There you have that. And then, of course, the situation in Gaza every week, something awful happens.
Yeah.
I'm not being partisan here. I'm just saying.
And then the India and Pakistan just started stirring up again.
And Pakistan went around again. Seemed a little worse than usual.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that the ET issue and its engagement by Congress and so forth is such as rocketing through. No way.
No.
But it never goes backward. It's always kind of inching forward.
Right.
And so Anna Polina Luna indicated a while back that she had a plan, and it was a good plan. She's going to have a skiff. She wanted 2 or 3 people in there big time. And that's where she could then hear things that they can say and she can hear, but nobody else can. You don't want that. And one of the reasons you do that is you get some very important information that you can't speak about, but it helps you to plan who to bring in for witnesses and kind of where to go. Very appropriate. And then she scheduled the hearing for I think it was April the 12th. And in the meantime, you had the UAP Disclosure Fund, which is a very big deal coming forward. Yeah. They put on this event and that I was referring to. Well, the skiff didn't happen because people got sick. I think ultimately that's what we were told. People got sick, and I think that's it. Several of the people got sick.
Skiff sickness,
yes, or skiff fear. and so she canceled that, which kind of made it awkward, I think, for the hearing. And so she then moved that to later in May, though I think it still hasn't happened. And then there was going to be a skiff at the end of May. And do you know if that took place, the one that we postponed? So it's all gotten postponed.
It's all been postponed
because of all the stuff that happened in May. Right. No problem. I have no problem with this. No problem whatsoever. So there's no question that she's going to have more hearings. She's actually said she's going to have 2. And what was remarkable about that is she said she wanted government witnesses. And I got the government witnesses for her. And I know they know about them. And that is the nuclear shutdown witnesses, Salas and Schindele, and Robert Jameson might have to present a written report to be delivered to the committee. He has some health issues. But then we've got Robert Jacobs.
I was going to say
he'd come in a second, right?
Yep.
And then we've got this new gentleman that Ross Coulthard is interviewing, another SAC-based gentleman, which I didn't even know about. So we have plenty, and the nuclear shutdown testimony is probably the most powerful. I have nothing against Tic Tacs, nothing against Tic Tacs. And Grush was incredible, though obviously secondhand. Okay. these are nuclear SAC base officers firsthand when the thing shut down. Know many other witnesses that won't come forward but can be alluded to as part of the whole research that Robert Hastings did. And I'd love for him to be in a position to be able to come in and testify. Don't know. He has his issues now. We're all up in age. But that testimony under oath, that's a killer. I mean, if I'm the Truth Embargo managers, I'm packing the bag.
That one I would. I seriously, and I said this, and I luckily was this morning able to sit Bob and Dave down in the same room.
Great.
And we were able to walk Bob into Nancy Mace's office after the hearing, and she had made that comment like, "Oh, I would really love to do an ET and Nuke hearing." So, like, we know it's in the ether, right? It's out there. And it's about making it a reality and pulling these people on their word and really mounting that kind of pressure. But you're right. That testimony, if anyone has a vested interest in national security and they can sit through a hearing where Bob and all that testimony is given, and you don't shake in your seat.
Well, again, I'm not shake in the sense of fear. I don't think the testimony should be fearful. It's talking about ETs shutting down our missiles in the 60s, maybe into the 70s, also shutting down some Soviet missiles. That's good.
Turning them on.
Turning them on, a little scare tactic, but they're not damaged.
Right,
we get them back on. And there's other evidence corroborating, which I can get into if you want, that the intent of what that was not threatening. It was something else. It was a message to us that they were hoping we would hear. And because there's other testimony about other things that they have done, which kind of supports that. So with that in mind, look, I'd like to say that any of the members of the subcommittee or any other member, such as Representative Burleson, right, and Representative Luna, Moskowitz, and so forth, it was a very important thing when you brought Bob Salas in to meet Representative Mace, and she gave, I was given the privilege to sit in on it. I had a chance to talk with her. Apparently she stepped back. That's kind of unfortunate, but whatever. They got lots of stuff to do. But I would love to bring one or two of those witnesses, maybe Schindele, Bob again, to maybe meet the same way with, and put on film with Representative Burleson or Luna,
doing it.
or any of the committee that would like to get a little more involved. Right. My office is just 2 blocks from the White House, and so I'm able to maneuver and do that kind of easily.
Right.
I don't have to fly in right from town like you do. But this is what kind of thing I really want to do more of. I'm an activist, but I am a registered lobbyist, but I don't really lobby. In other words, I'm not constantly calling it a meeting because I want to do this. I'm an activist trying to work a number of things while watching the Congress. But I think it's time that I maybe have a little more inside moments like we had with Mace. Because I do have a particular perspective on this. It's not inside, it's outside. And it's because I'm following the media intensely, and I'm following how people handle the issue on social media.
Right.
And so I give a perspective that could be useful to members of Congress that are trying to contemplate the risk and how to deal with it and so forth. And that's kind of what I bring to the table.
Unique vantage point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like a all source vantage point rather than just this or that. It's an all source where you're.
You need a lot of perspectives, and I clearly have I think a distinctive one because of 30 years now almost of doing nothing but focus on this. I mean, I don't have a dog. I love dogs, but I can't have a dog because I just focus on this, right? The dog would not do well. So the other thing was that Anna Luna said that she wanted a second hearing, and she said, and you may remember, she said, I want this appointees. I want to have a hearing with appointees. Now that really caught my attention. Because what are appointees? Appointees are people that the president has appointed to the DOD and the CIA and the National Security Office and the Homeland Security. That's the appointees she's talking about. Not appointees to the Department of Agriculture. And so I'm thinking, okay, you bring in an appointed a high-level DOD person. Could even be the SecDef, don't know. You bring in another one from there. Now you put them in the hearing under oath and start asking them questions. That takes it to another level. I mean, you probably couldn't even do it unless the president, the White House, was happy with them going under oath on questions about UAPs,
Yeah.
meaning that you were down with them doing that because you wanted to get your administration engaged in this issue. It's the perfect way for the administration to get into the issue when appointees are able to make candid comments under oath to a committee, right? It's like a step before the big step.
The big step, right? It's the warm up, right? You're getting closer and closer and closer.
But you're hooking the White House to the issue,
right?
Now, maybe that's what she's thinking. Maybe that's not the plan. I don't know, but it's the kind of thing that get my attention. All right. And the other thing I don't want to say, unless I forget, I don't mean to be too long, but the message that I gave at this conference, the message I'm giving in the podcast, and I've got many lined up and more coming. Many lined up, and I've just done a bunch. Is this the two key messages that I'm always one key message I'm always putting out, and the new one, the key message I'm always putting out that I hope people will hear and understand, because I want people to be happy. I want them to be calm. And that's this. Everything has been happening since the To the Stars Academy and Mellon and Elizondo and those getting going and approaching the Hill and starting to elevate the level of understanding on the Hill and all the media coverage and so forth, but the creation of the task force, the creation of Arrow, the 4 pieces of legislation, all of that. Pretty cool. Most of the American people are watching this going, they're going to go find out what's going on. They're creating all this stuff to go find out what's going on. That's not it. That's not it at all. None of this has anything to do with that. They already know what's going on. They know what's in the sky. They have vehicles. They have bodies. They've been using vast sums of money to track everything they can, because this is a true national security matter, and they've been doing it for 70 years.
Right.
So, and then why are we going through all of this? If they already know, they just tell us and we move on, right? No. The problem is not what they know. It's the truth embargo. It's what they withheld. The fact that they had to lie about this for national security reasons, going all the way back to Truman's decision to hold off and have General Ramey kind of do something to give us some time. And eventually the time has now been 78 years.
I wonder if he even, I wonder if he could see how long it went, would he have still made the call he made?
Oh, well, if you can see into the future, the things I can see into the future, the calls I would make, I can tell you, I would have made some serious changes. No, I think he didn't know what was going to happen, but they had a clear indication that something with the Soviet Union was developing and it wasn't going to be good. Plus that the Soviet Union had the secrets. They had the atomic and hydrogen bomb secrets, and they knew from their intelligence they were going to start testing. I think they dropped their first hydrogen, or was atomic in 53? I think it was, it might have been 53. So, and they knew what that meant. Missiles, bombs, enemy, there you go. Huge national security problem. West versus the enemy again. And China was not really a factor, but they probably figured out where that was going to go. And so, and what happened is, as each year after the Roswell and that decision, things never got better. No. They only got worse.
Into the Cold War,
and you start seeing the buildup of a nuclear arsenal. So it doesn't surprise me the decision to see what's going to happen turned into, we're not touching that until somehow this gets sorted out, because, and this is a tip to Mr. Rumsfeld, who is no longer with us.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell the world officially that we're not alone, and you've got some tech and bodies and things. So in other words, we got visitors, almost certainly from another star. Do you know all the unknown unknowns that are going to happen after that? You can probably think of a few known unknowns, right? You're going, oh yeah, that we don't. But the unknown unknowns, and if one of those happens to lead to a, destabilization of the force, and somebody launches a nuke, that's on your resume. That's it. Yep. I caused nuclear war. I was trying to do my best. Okay. So they said this, they put it off the table. And it didn't really have a chance to truly make progress until after the Cold War ended.
Right.
And you had the elimination of the Communist Party. So that area around 91. And there was things that happened right after that.
Right.
I speculate that if George H.W. Bush had won that election, things might have been different, might have gone very fast, much faster. because he was the guy that you would want to be president if you're going to make him. If you're the DOD and the military intelligence complex want to make a major move like that, he's the man.
The guy, yeah.
The guy that did win the president was not their man.
Nope.
Not their man. And so, but there's still engagement during that administration. So more time goes by, 91 to 2020 or 2017, which is like another 26 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you could argue that there was another attempt in 2001 with the National Press Club event, and flying all those witnesses in, and then 9/11 happens a couple months later.
That was a civilian attempt, though. I'm referring to inside. I mean, it's the attempt the Clinton administration tried to engage this.
Right.
But because it was loosened up, you had some dramatic. But that was still 10 years after the Cold War. But Stephen Greer's work comes to that early work comes to a culmination but that's us trying to get the truth embargo. It had prospects, it had possibilities, but once again, like we see now, history, which is like a giant tide that goes wherever the hell it wants,
yes, it is,
jumps in, and just a couple of months later, you have 911, and whatever was going on there is just completely shut it to the side. So we go through more and more. We finally get to a breakthrough, and that's the To the Stars Academy group. Their bios and photos out there saying we're willing to go after this issue, and there's a platform, they have a company and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But it was several of those individuals in that group that helped deliver the New York Times stories via Blumenthal and Leslie Kean, and that was the switch. The New York Times stories hit a switch that turned on some motors and lights and stuff, and from that point forward, we were not going back, and we haven't. And so at some point, the people that came forward there were trying to get disclosure. I believe that's what they wanted. But they probably knew, and I haven't talked to them directly, they probably knew that, okay, we're trying to get disclosure, all right, but it's not, there's a process that's going to have to happen. Right, and they were acknowledging that process, and they were bringing witnesses up and educating and so forth, and eventually getting legislation and what have you. And so, in a sense, they understood this. In other words, we have to have this process to finally get the ultimate confirmation, and that's the process you've been seeing. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, they already know about the ET presence, and I think the people that were working this, like Mellon and so forth, know that there's an ET presence, but here is the dilemma. You're going to do all this stuff and somebody asks you why? Well, we have extraterrestrials here, so we need to create a task force. Oh, you have extraterrestrials here? Disclosure, right? Or at least it puts the administration on the spot.
Yeah.
So you have to do all of this stuff to create a platform for disclosure and confirmation from the president, but you can't tell them why, because obviously that's disclosure. So you basically context it in a reasonable way. We're really going to try to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to figure out what this is. Now, most of the American people are going right on, but everybody in the field that knows anything at all is going, are you kidding me?
Right.
That's where I come in, because while I understand why they're going, oh man, I totally accept this. It has to be this way. All right. It's a little awkward, and they'll be asked about that. You knew all along. And the answer will be, well, look, we had to have an orderly process. This is a big deal. And so this whole 7 years is to make it very simple, using a simple analogy, is to build through legislation and hearings and education and media engagement at the highest level, a nice platform, solid, well built, that could sit in the East Room right there at the end of Cross Hall, that the president could walk down the hall and step up on that platform with all that's happened and say, based upon reports and understandings and briefings I've had from my top people, I can confirm as the president that the statements and the reality of our having crashed vehicles, re-engineering programs and bodies is absolutely true, which means, however he wants to say it, we're not alone. And then instead of a reaction like, what? And the media goes nuts, and you get the political partisanship jumps in and they attack. No, the first thing that comes to mind when the president says that is all this other effort, the platform process that built it. And they're going, well, of course.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we're in the post-disclosure world. And I am celebrating. I'm raising my speaking rates, absolutely, and probably spending money I shouldn't spend, and building, planning a world tour, and God knows what else, because I don't have a lot of years left. So I gotta compact the celebration,
Right.
That's what it's about. So that's one of the things that I want people to get.
And, it seems obvious to me, but I feel as a president, I would want to be now. I don't think it's a secret that Donald Trump, as a president, will always be looked at by history as kind of what happened there, right? And that's okay. But he could really make his mark in history by being the disclosure president.
Well, I'm sure
change the optics completely.
Well, let's assume that he doesn't feel the optics need to be changed, and let's assume that he feels he's already making history, which is fine. That's okay, right? Here's where it gets in. This is the other part, the second half of what I was bringing up. Okay, so the platform is being built. That's all great. But there have been opportunities for every president going back to Truman to do this. Every president has known about the ET presence. Those that somehow think that the people behind the truth embargo and the deep state or whatever have kept it from the presidents. They don't. This is not realistic at all. You're the most powerful man pretty much in the world. You have an incredible responsibilities, and you have huge numbers of people that you're interacting with. And many of them are extremely well connected. And so the idea that nobody's going to take you aside at some point, at a lunch, at a meeting, or whatever the hell, and just say, Mr. President, by the way, and if you didn't know this phenomenon is extraterrestrial, and we are dealing with it, I would recommend that you don't go there, because this is very tough politically and otherwise. But I'm just letting you know. Yeah. And that's true for major figures in Hollywood who have huge power, huge amount of money. You don't think there are people going to take them aside? Gleason was actually taken to see some bodies Nixon was taken to see the body. And I've talked to witnesses on that, including Shirley MacLaine, who knew the wife. So they know, every single one is known, but they've chosen not to go there. And the reasons are going to be always the same. It's really politically risky. It's national security. It's going to be distracting. It could have political damage to you. We're not sure the unknowns. We don't have enough information. Whatever. And all these fine presidents are going, well, I'm a very sober thinking person, and I understand what you're saying. And I'll go there. Now, I won't go there. Carter was an exception,
right,
on his own, and he made an effort, but he had no platform.
Yes.
And they weren't going to give him that platform.
No, they wouldn't.
So, but it became known through the work of Grant Cameron and 1,000 pages of documents, which I have and he has, that it happened, which we then used and, put it out there to just let people know. And it's played a good role. But now we have a platform. Now the question, do we have a president? Given that we have a platform now, that's not going to go, well, this is interesting and so forth, but there's a lot of unknowns here, and maybe I should defer to the Pentagon and so forth. We don't have that kind of president now.
Right.
We have a rather unique situation where we have a president that basically, one, is going to do whatever the hell he wants to do, period. Secondly, the people that might talk him out of it, they're really not there. He has put, in general, people in there that are very much in a loyalty position.
Very much.
And I think mostly concerned about supporting what the president wants to do than talking him out to doing it. Not that doesn't happen. And so by and large, we have an ideal situation. And then the second thing is we have a president that is very much interested in legacy and accomplishments and being appreciated, acknowledged. And well, the simple truth is, and I've said this now for 30 years, and it hasn't changed, is the first head of state to confirm the extraterrestrial presence to the world. Then that will be followed by other heads of state coming in right behind. It won't take long.
Very fast.
And they're not going to sit back. Certainly of our allies. I don't know about Xi Jinping and Putin. They may hold off, but I think they'll actually come out pretty quickly themselves. But they'll be second. And it will be a global situation, and that's the way it should be. But the president or the leader that does it first gets a legacy of almost incalculable value.
It's unfathomable.
Yeah.
Like it would be in every history book going forward.
Forever.
And be rewritten the previous
Change
ones.
the course of history. You know, it's more than just one person, but still, you know how it is with history. You know,
Yes.
same as we look back in time to know, well, Alexander did this and that changed everything. No, President Trump will have a legacy, and he will be known as someone who literally changed the course of history, I think, for the better.
I think so.
And that's simply a fact. And so now, given everything else I kind of know that's going on, and I'm always, you know, kind of aware, and I tend to always be positive about disclosure happening, though I know sometimes it's really not likely, and I'll kind of downplay it. I never pick a date. I'm not that crazy. Say it's going to happen on this date.
Right.
But I'll say it looks really good this year, right? We have good possibilities. This is what you as an activist have to do. You can't be going out saying, well, things are looking not too bad, but it could take another 10 or 20 years. And people going, I'm sorry, guy, I got to go. I really can't get behind this. No, you have to say that there is a mountaintop that you see, and you may not get there with you, but we're climbing that mountaintop. You have to do that. And so I think I don't go too far overboard, but now it's different. All right. Too much is happening. Too many things are taking place that point towards the potential for getting this done. And so I believe there is no fundamental barrier, political or national security wise, that prevents our president from coming out tomorrow or a week from now. None. Look, the platform could be bigger, right? Could have a little more, but it's enough. It's more than enough. And so I think it's going to happen. And one of the reasons that really kind of keyed me into that was that, and I didn't find out this till later, because, you know, everything's happening all at once everywhere. But I learned there was a podcast 5 days before his inauguration. Okay, always a podcast, right? Only this one was hosted by podcaster Donald Trump Jr., who has a podcast, pretty good one too, actually. He's quite good at it. And I think a substantial following, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think anybody's shocked at that. So a whole lot of people watched him 5 days before his father's inauguration interview Ross Coulthard and Elizondo for an hour and a half. Yeah, talking ETs and disclosure and everything else. Now, you know, call me crazy. We've never seen that before, right? And by the way, the podcast revolution of which you are a part is a major issue in driving toward disclosure. It's just one more huge communication and ability for people to get information and interact on top of social media and the internet, making it the idea that we just keep this lie going, it's going to be no problem. It's absurd.
It is absurd.
But in that case, it was the President's Son's podcast. And so I'm just thinking, hey, look, I can get a message. I can get a message. I get the message. You know, Don Jr. didn't just do that because he wanted to have a little fun or take a flyer, right? And bring in the UFO issue into the family 5 days before his father takes the oath. No, I have to believe his father knew it. Very possible his father told him to do it. So let's say that the president told him to do it. Why would he do that? I will speculate this. It's called reading the room.
Right. Reading
the room. And what room are we talking about? Okay, you're trying to make a decision. How are you going to play the issue once you're in office? So if my son, who has this huge following, holds a podcast, and I think it's the case, I think they weren't closed off to comments. It was on YouTube. A whole bunch of people are going to comment, right? And I need to confirm that in case they closed it off. In which case, I'm kind of making a mistake here, but I'm pretty sure it has comments. So you know how comments go, thousands of them, and so now you just go read the comments.
And see what the
public is reacting to Don's podcast, and you're reading the room. Now, obviously, he did not take any immediate action. Obviously, because, well, first of all, he had 100 and some presidential directives to sign, you know, so he had a lot on his plate, and God knows what, and all the appointments and everything else. I mean, the first 100 days is brutal. His has been more like 200 days, approaching, and so it doesn't take action. However, the members of Congress have continued to take action, and the leaders of that, not all of them, are in fact very strong supporters of the president.
Absolutely.
And so you take all that together, and my message to the president, if he wants to call me, is uh, the brass ring, this incredible brass ring of historical implication, is simply there to take right now.
Right.
You don't have to run. You don't have to lift any weights. Just reach out and grab it, and it is yours forever.
Ever.
And the question is, now, there are people that were going, I'm not like that. I'm not comfortable with that at all. That's not the person I want to take the ring. I want somebody else to take it. History doesn't work that way.
Usually not.
No, it doesn't. And you got to get real. So, history has come to this president. It is a statement that you don't make history, it comes to you. And if you look back, that's the way it is. Lincoln didn't set out to make a nice civil war so he could have an historical moment. And there's countless like that. History has come to Donald Trump. And so if he accepts it, then of course, the implications are broad. The issue is nonpartisan, which brings up something else I wanted to say. When Luna was planning these events that she was talking about, she was interviewed, asked how things are going. And she said, we're going to have a skit, we're going to have a hearing, and we're going to have this briefing thing, and then we're going to have a hearing. But in the interview, she made a statement. She volunteered it. She wasn't asked. It's out there. You can find it. I put it up on Twitter, but if you go find the interview with her,
It was probably Askapol or something, right?
I think it was Askapol. I think it was Matt Laszlo. By the way, Askapol is fantastic.
He's great.
Oh, fantastic. I subscribe.
Yeah.
I invite people to do it.
Mhm.
He's doing something nobody is doing on this issue, and it's great.
Very
good. She said what I consider is like a seminal statement about the historical opportunity. She said, the UAP issue is the most bipartisan investigation in the history of the country. Boom.
Period.
Boom.
Whoa.
And it is. If you can find another one, we can't even get bipartisan on kids being shot up in school.
Yeah, that's
we can't be bipartisan about lead.
Right.
Pick anything.
Yeah.
I'm not aware. And that's one of the problems. The nation is in gridlock because we can't work together, and each side is determined to make the other side fail. I understand why they may going that way. They're hoping eventually they'll fail and go away and they'll take over. It doesn't work that way.
No.
And so nothing much has happened, right? It's irresistible force and immovable object. And the lack of things happening and solving problems and doing things is turning the country into a mess. It's a wreck. Everybody's on drugs, legal, not legal.
Legal or illegal.
Nobody's sleeping well, and including me. So
and we're held hostage in a world where nuclear deterrence is the acronym MAD.
Yeah, and while we're not able to fix things at home and get some bipartisan results that helps people, the nuclear situation gets worse and worse. So again, and this is why if you've got an apocalyptic series, streaming series pitch, go get it, go do it, right? Hollywood will put it out, right? Yep. Everybody, they can't avoid watching apocalyptic stuff. I don't know how many of the Walking Dead things were done. It was 4 different versions, 200 episodes.
8 spinoffs too.
People can't get enough.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? What is so endearing about the apocalypse is because they're feeling the apocalyptic process. They're preparing. Yeah. And so it's a training. These are training shows.
Yeah, they're training.
I learned a lot
material.
by watching Walking Dead, how you come together as a group, not do this, don't do that, how to travel, this and that and everything else. Because obviously we're going to need it one day. Now, this is not what we want. This is not where we want to go. And so the president or the head of state that can get us out of this, that's a good thing. And some people say, well, this particular president will dominate and so forth, and it'll just be all about him. No, that's not going to happen, right?
I don't think so.
And the reason is simply this. All of the major nations know there's an ET presence, including Russia, including China. But certainly our major allies, which is European countries and so forth. And they have deferred to us. And people say, well, why would they do that? They've deferred to us because after World War II, we were the most powerful nation in the world. We had the first nukes. The smart people in these nations were looking over U.S., Soviet Union, U.S., and they're going, well, I see where this is going to go.
Yep.
And so and this issue was happening, and the idea that they're going to cut in line, no, they deferred, right? This is your call. We can't build 20,000, 30,000 nuclear weapons. The Soviet Union, I mean, Russia, wait a minute, Soviet Union. Yeah, it's just a few miles over, right, on our right border, right? And they deferred to us, and they've stayed that way. That doesn't mean they haven't been involved in the issue. They have. I think Soviet Union and China was not in a place to do much of anything, but even as it evolved to a powerful nation, these are ideological control states, and giving their people incredibly profound news is just going to make it harder to kind of keep people in line and focus on the party and the leader,
yeah,
and whatever.
it would be just super disruptive for their society.
And what was that movie? Don't Look Up.
Yeah,
their policy is don't look up.
Yeah, don't look up.
So they didn't do it either. Then that doesn't mean they couldn't do it now. I mean, the thing has got to the point that platform is built in a way. There's kind of a virtual version of that platform over in the Kremlin and one in Beijing, right?
Right.
And if Putin steps up there and says there's ETs here, well, guess what? Who gets the legacy? Putin gets it.
Gets it, yeah.
But I think it's going to be our president. And so when he does it, immediately our allies, such as Britain and Canada, Australia, things like that, they're going to come forward right away and say, absolutely, we know about this. We have our own evidence. And I think it's appropriate that the Canadians or the Brits may go to their prime minister and go, look, why didn't you tell us about this sooner? I mean, come on, what's going on here? Why didn't you do it? You know, we're irritated by that. And the answer is a very simple answer. One, the nature of the history of the time, importance of the United States. We didn't want to cut in line. So essentially, it was a national security issue for us, as well as the United States.
Just by proxy.
In a sense,
yeah, by proxy.
Yeah, I mean, so they're because they felt if they were to step in front of us, that could undermine things and create a problem for us. That could lead to a problem for them. Whatever. The world's complex. So, and their citizens will go, okay, that's great. Now, tell me about the ZT stuff, right? What do you got? What do you got? No problem. And I think Putin and Xi Jinping will do the same thing. So because they're not going to be upstaged here all completely. They're not going to go back and go, well, we'll just sit back on this while the whole ET thing just completely manifests in the Western world. No. And so right away, you've got all of the major leaders pretty much committed. The fact it's true, probably talking about getting information out. It's now a full global, it's a global thing, right? And ETs didn't come here to just kind of hang out with the United States.
Area 51, no.
So it's a fully global thing. And so our president will be part of a bunch of global leaders who are coming together to deal with, as Anna says, the issue that is the most bipartisan investigation in our history and probably any other countries.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying now. I know a lot of people are going to push back and say, you've been saying this forever, and I'm just so tired of hearing it. I get it. I understand. I'm not offended.
You're the one who had to say it the whole time.
Somebody had to keep, somebody has to keep the flame lit.
I know.
I'm not the only one.
I actually respect that now that you say that.
Well, that's what activists do. Researchers, that's not their job. And so they look upon what I'm doing as, it's a little crazy. Journalists, absolutely, right? Journalists are supposed to adhere to certain protocols and what have you, and they just can't be going out and saying, oh, disclosure's coming. Right. You can't do that. Even an op-ed person shouldn't do that.
Right.
That's why you have activists. They can do or say things that others can't, that other areas of engagement can't do.
So
and hopefully, if you're honest and you're authentic and you don't do violence, which is absolutely unacceptable. By the way, this movement has been absolutely nonviolent. I'm not aware of a single act of violence, which is, I think, incredibly admirable.
It really is when you really step back in this world where, there's violence everywhere.
Everywhere and on every issue.
Yeah.
Of any substance, but this issue is unique.
It's very unique.
It's nothing is like this. It transcends politics and religion. It's global.
So, what do you think? Say it happens, right? It just like you talked about. It comes to fruition, and someone steps out. Well, let's say Trump in this case.
Yeah.
Steps out, grabs the ring, says, "I'm going to do it. We're going to." Reveal.
I'm going to confirm. The revealing is another process.
Yeah. The second, do you think there would have to be do you think it would have to come out in stages? Like now we confirm, and then there's a follow up in 30 days, and because the second question is going to be, are there abductions?
Okay. Yeah. Look, here is my best take on it. The president has made the announcement. Okay. Now, the first thing that happens is several thousand reporters immediately head to Washington in every briefing room they can find. All right, with a million questions,
Jammed.
including the White House. Okay, fine. And if they're wise, they may set up some panels that they can direct them to, or bring in some people so they can ask some questions of various panels, or they may hold off. Well, I don't know. You can't stop the reporters from coming, but they'll find a way to sort of, slow it down a little bit. But they're going to ask a lot of questions right away. Some of these things are not really classified. They're
Right.
just really compelling questions, and they're going to get asked immediately.
Right.
All right. And one of the absolute questions is going to be asked day one, and they're in a very tough spot because the focus now is like a microscope on them, an electron microscope. And so every word that comes out of your mouth at that point, whoever you are, what spokesman you are or woman, it's going to be scrutinized. It's going to be down to the atoms. And so they got to tell the truth. And so when a reporter asks the question, since you've confirmed that we have bodies and so forth, basically that obviously they're here, does that mean that the reports of contact, even abduction by entities like this, is true? And the answer has got to be yes, which brings up another, whoa, okay. Well, and then
that's when you go,
and then at some point, right? I don't know how quickly it'll happen. At some point, they would say, look, we have the legislation to reveal all. Because I think the Disclosure Act will be redone, not redone, but resubmitted with everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe the eminent domain not, but the whole act, which described the whole process that would be done.
Executive order, right?
Well, it could be executive order, resubmitted and passed, and that's going to happen fast. And then it's going to start doing its thing. They're going to be going after information and documents and what have you. And if they're not given those documents, people are going to be having a real hard time. Okay? Their careers are going to be over. This is the law, and it's a hell of a law. And so it starts coming forward very quickly. They're not going to wait. There's already stuff coming forward now under the half bill that was passed.
Right.
Going into the archive, nothing earth shaking, and it'll come up to the review panel. The review panel say, okay. Bing, goes forward, public in the archives. Comes up, not really yet for that. Push it back, put a date, not just put it back, put it on hold, but they have to acknowledge that. And that'll just keep happening. And it'll be like a river of stuff. They're not going to be able to come out and say, want to take a couple of months off here, and we're just not going to do anything. The public says, I don't think so.
Right.
And so
this will be high demand.
That's the small d disclosure process writ large happening. Coming out to the world, and other nations will be doing the same thing, which is another reason why it'll keep the pressure on, because you may have something you'd rather not put out right now, but then Britain puts it out. What the hell? And so it's going to be a lot faster than people think, right? But it's orderly.
Yeah.
And I think they know this. They have a plan of this. The government's had 78 years to kind of plan this.
Oh,
you found it.
I got it.
I knew you would.
I got it.
Fire away.
Several people have pointed towards 2027.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard the date. You said you don't like dates. However,
I don't say I don't like dates. It's just I don't go that far.
Right.
Even a year is a big time, but hey, I put 2 bets down on confirmation of disclosure happening in the UK at big odds way back. It's like for the next 12 months.
Right.
Okay. I mean, because I really was feeling good.
Right.
I put my money where my mouth is. Wasn't much, but I had great odds, 500 to 1.
Ooh.
Right. And at one point they were offering thousands to 1. This is a number of years ago. Well, both bets didn't pay off because in that year it didn't happen.
Right.
Okay. But no, the idea of saying this is the year, that's like rigging that bet so that I win. That's not going to happen.
Right. But this idea of 2027, do you think that maybe there is something? Because I often think, why would anyone say a date like that? Why does it keep coming up? Do you think there could be, a scenario where we've spotted something, coming, our way.
Yeah.
And we know that we have a limited time because whatever's coming might just cause a chaos. What do they call it? A chaos disclosure?
No, apocalyptic disclosure.
Right. So, I mean, just instant reveal by a ship entering our atmosphere, that's going to scare a lot of people. That's going to be chaos.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Catastrophic disclosure.
Pretty much the same.
Same thing. So they're like, let's get in front of it.
I don't think so, because they're already here.
Right.
Well,
they're
flying out of mountains. They're going under the ocean. They're all over the place. It's like, so no, I don't think that is it. It's intriguing though, and there's lots of fun speculative possibilities here. First of all, there's some psychics saying this, right? Right, that's good. And you've got some former CIA people kind of referring to something, which means they may have some information. And so, but it's enough that it's in play. It's on X. It's happening, right? It's going semi-viral. So let me give a couple of possibilities that I think maybe have a little better chance of working. And one of them is the simple analysis that I've been putting out for years, that if we get disclosure of ET presence worldwide, there's going to be this massive learning curve that's going to take place, where billions of people are going to have to learn a lot of stuff and want to learn, and they're going to read, and they're going to want films, they're going to want all kinds of content, which is why I created, along with Dan Harari, the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, to bring together people in the UAP world and the people in the film world to get together real fast and make that content, particularly using the people that have done all the work all these years. Maybe they didn't have PhDs, but they did the work, they did journalism, they did research, and they need to be included in that massive content. It's going great. We have 205 members. We expect to have many more very soon. So the learning curve of the world, given all the tech we have, podcasts and internet and so forth, this stuff will just go. And movies, you make a movie. We make a movie, and it plays in many countries. Billions of people see it, and it makes billions of dollars. And invariably, it's about ETs. So the world's getting educated. At some point, it's pretty much educated, which means what? It means that, and I think 2 years is about right. So it means that if ETs were to actually go open, who's going to get upset? Right? They're here. Right. And so suddenly we're learning that, the President of the United States just received a communication from a particular group talking about this, that, and suggesting this or whatever. That's open contact. That's not visits in the middle of the night. Right. Does it mean they have to be on camera? They have to be physically there? No, they could be communicating, but some kind of open contact is taking place. Right. There is a logic to it taking about 2 years. That may be one reason why you hear 2026 back a while and you hear 2027. They're thinking like I am. There is also the possibility that there has been background communication between any ET species and some of our leaders, or a leader or whatever, along the lines of, once you confirm we're here, we're going to go open. And we're really close right now. So if they know that, if people inside know disclosure is pretty much happening, and they have that kind of understanding that's behind the scenes, then that predicts 2 years out, doesn't it? Right. That's another way to do it. Right. They could have, and this is another popular version. I love to speculate. It's okay as long as you make it clear. Is that they've been given an ultimatum. That's right. Well, right. All right, you've held the reins long enough. Disclose or die, my friend. Yeah. And that would do it.
Well, I was thinking, so, Trump would be in his last year of his he'd be entering his last year of presidency. And
no, actually, no. Right? He's going to be president 25, 26, 27, 28. So if it happens 27, that's the next to the last year. 26 is next to that. Yeah. Meaning the middle of the presidency. And by the way,
well, it would be past, yeah.
Yeah, but by the way, he has the power to speed it up.
He does.
If he comes out in a week, we could have the open contact in 2 years or less. Yeah. Right? He could be halfway through his second year, and we're in open contact. Now the legacy grows. Changed. The legacy grows. Now, open contact, of course, will almost certainly be not confined to a single country. They'll be probably engaging, though ultimately they're engaging the planet. they're not going to, I don't see them coming up with 200 different deals with the 200
Yeah, yeah, I
countries.
think it'll be a.
But they're going to be, probably open contact with major nations, major leaders. And that clearly is a world-changing thing, but it is not country-specific. And so everybody can share in the glory, all right? Because the last thing we want, the ETs are not stupid. They're not going to confine it to one country. So the whole world is looking at that country going, what deals are you cutting? What have you got? What's going on? We're really suspicious here.
Right, it would look very shady.
I think they're going to go out of their way, if they do this, to engage the planet as a whole with a certain, essentially, equality amongst all countries. Again, interesting speculation, but it is, you got to at least. And I bring it up only because these things are turning up about 26 and 27 to intrigue me, and some of them are coming from people that I actually respect, and so
that's why I
have to think about it a little bit. Yeah. Again, the sooner the better. I mean, it can't happen too soon for me. I mean,
right. You're like 2027. That's a little too far out.
Even that's out there.
That's
2026. I could. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Maybe even the summer, right? That would be not bad.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, what was it? The last day of contact last year was, or David Grush, right?
Yeah.
Ironically.
That's right.
So maybe you get another bombshell.
Yeah, we were here at the same hotel, and somebody learned that Coulthard was about to give that interview, and the article that appeared in. Mike Hanks' article appeared. No, it was.
Must have got crazy.
Blumenthal and Keene's article, I think. Didn't they write the?
Yeah,
I think they wrote the
for the debrief. Yeah.
And boom! I mean, it was huge, and everybody got in the room and watched it. It was like a family moment, right? We're so proud of ourselves and everything else. It was good. Okay, so that happened, and then and that was 2023. Last year, things were happening around this time too. It was like May.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
2023. Time does go, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does go by. Yeah,
and so there were some significant things happening then.
Yeah.
Now, how about right now? Let's see. Well, as we move into this conference, we've got the statements from Luna. We got the indication she's going to do more hearings. We had a couple of major witnesses coming out. Nothing quite at the level of the Grush moment.
Yeah, right.
But there's going to be some more Grush moments. And if one wants to happen on Monday this year, which I think is June the 2nd, I'm down with that.
I'm down with that,
something
my friend.
Massive.
So because we do have to wrap up now, but I obviously, you always have an open door onto the podcast, and we talk a lot. So I always love my conversations with you. Where can people go to follow your work?
Yeah. Well, there are a number of entities that need support immediately. All right. First and foremost, the New Paradigm Institute. They really they've had some decent funding. They've established some very substantial website and programs. And they have the Citizens for Disclosure project, where you can go, you sign up, and then you can write anything just write a note, slid it to them, and it automatically goes using their system to your Congress and senator, Congress persons and senator. And so, support that. I mean, we can't have too many of those messages going in, particularly right now. And they have other programs. It's really going to be a front leading entity in the post-disclosure world. And it was basically set up for the post-disclosure world. Getting to disclosure is just an advanced project, right?
Yes.
It's like a appetizer.
Right.
And then Soul Foundation is a scientific think tank that's based in Stanford. And Gary Nolan, the Nobel Prize nominee, is leading that. That needs support from the big guys, right? Some serious money, because they want to try to develop and deal with the science and the engineering of this thing in a post-disclosure world. The UAP Disclosure Fund, which sponsors two events on the Hill, right?
Yeah.
About UAP.
Right.
Again, that wasn't happening 20 years ago, okay? They are a 501c4 political entity that is going to be taking, it gets massive amounts of money. They're going to use that money to affect the political policies. That's what 501c4s do. Okay. So we now have a 501c4, big one. There's other groups forming, absolutely, faster than I can even get into them. These are and of course, MUFON is getting more aggressive and more robust, engaging the Hill quite a bit. You got a major media component of MUFON that was created by Ron James. That they need support too. Sign up for MUFON, join it. It's going to get less investigatory and more post disclosure. But it's been around since 1969. It deserves a major place in the post disclosure world. My organization is small. It's been mostly me, though I have a huge network.
Yeah.
Paradigm Research Group is like an activist entity, limited but focused. But knowing the post-disclosure world is coming, I just converted to a 501c3. Been getting some donations through the portal on the website. Do I need millions? No, I do not. Even hundreds of thousands would be probably good. I couldn't quite use right now.
Yeah.
But I do have a couple of quick projects. The most important is the X conference. I held 6 of those back in the early aughts, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. All of them in this area, one in the press club. Went extremely well. It's time for another one, X Conference 2025. I already have the venue, which would be the press club and a hotel that's nearby. It's all pretty much there when I commit. It would be an excellent setup.
I'd love to attend.
But in order to do it, I have to lock down the press club venue, and you just don't go in and say, give me that date. No, in order to lock it up, I've got to actually pay all of the rental for the substantial amount of space, and it's in the 20,000 range. So as soon as I can get that threshold donated to PRG, I lock down the venue,
press club,
lock down the hotel, put the site up, start selling tickets,
and then start bringing people in.
Right?
Yeah, I'd love to come. Love to come.
Oh, of course you're going to come.
Yeah,
and I'll love to meet you. And the target for this, so there's time. The target for this is in July, early February. Okay, now that raises a pretty interesting situation.
It does.
In that end of the year, assuming we're still here, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's nuked anybody.
Yeah. Hopefully.
In December, a major event is being put together called the State of the World Forum, based exactly like the State of the World Forums from the 90s. Big events, significant, and it's going to address the state of the world with heavy-duty people. The original ones back in the 90s had heads of state. They had major players. Well, shoot for that now this time.
Okay.
And that's already planned. It's going to be in Washington in that December timeframe. And then in October, just before that, slated. I mean, it was scheduled and had to be rescheduled, and anything could change it. But technically, it's in play. The invites have been out. A major UAP conference in Dubai.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. Dubai?
Oh,
hey, it's gone full international at this point.
At this point, unless I do something really silly, I'm on the invite list, and a lot of other people, but I can't speak for them. So this would generate huge news.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be the highest quality venue and so forth.
And they go all out.
They go all out. And that will elevate the issue, and then you have the State of the World Forum, which is going to devote a third of its, how would you say, agenda to the UAP, which didn't happen in the previous 9.
Yeah, right.
And then the X conference would follow that in late January. It's a 1, 2, 3, and so I need the people's help. Just give me about 25,000. I can do it. I'll launch it. It'll be happening, and that will also. Help PRG get a little more leverage, a little more cachet in terms of getting access to the Hill.
Yeah.
So I'm poised to do my thing. Danny Sheehan's doing his thing. Gary Nolan's doing his thing.
Everyone's doing it.
And is there anything else? Oh, and the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance is doing its thing.
Yes.
And we are the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance is a nonprofit 501c3. Yeah. We do not make any money from any deals that are made to make content, films, documentaries, whatever. You just make the deals. That's with you. We're just helping you to get together to do it and identify who really wants to engage this issue. So, but we could do a lot more in terms of, awards and dinners and presentations and so forth, but we're going to need donated funds for that. If we just had 25,000, we could do some very cool things in Hollywood. We've already had some meetings that have gone pretty well.
Yeah, I think the door's open.
I hope so.
So thank you, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. The room is gonna get out.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for our shows at Contact in the Desert. I can't believe it's actually been almost 3 months since Contact, I think. Yeah, a little bit more than that. And we're just finally now wrapping up our set of interviews that we did conduct. I want to say a special thank you to everyone involved in creating Contact in the Desert, but especially people like Brianna, Jamie, and Captain Ron himself. You guys let us conduct these interviews in the media room. You gave us unfettered access where we needed it. And it was such an amazing event. I learned so much, not about just the UFO field, but about myself, about mistakes that can be made. That was Stephen Bassett with Paradigm Research Group from today's interview, but we conducted so many great interviews from this conference. So I really implore you to check out them all. I'll put them in a little playlist and I'll link them right up here. Or just search through our history and check it out, whether it's on a podcast platform, on YouTube. Everything's always there for you to watch and to re listen to. Again, without your support, the show wouldn't be possible. So I want to say thank you to everyone who watches, who listens. You are what make doing this worth it. Facilitating these amazing stories of the unknown, of the mysterious. It's been such a pleasure to work with Kari Lindsay on the video editing, and that will be continuing into the studio here that we're working at and conducting more in-person interviews. I felt that this was a really good starting point for that kind of operation, knowing that I had the studio to come back to. So this really was the setting the stage for what was to come next for Total Disclosure. And I think we've set a very good foundation for that. And I can't wait to see what happens. It was a pleasure speaking with Stephen Bassett, and it was a pleasure speaking with the catalog of people interviewed at Contact. So I implore you to check it out, whether it's on a podcast platform, whether it's on YouTube. They're all there, and I will link some of them in the description. In fact, I'll link all of them. So my name's Ty. This is Total Disclosure, and we're wrapping up our coverage of Contact in the Desert 2025 Event Horizon. Make sure to like, to share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on a great podcast platform like Spotify or Apple, leave the show a review. It really, really helps us get out to bigger audiences, to broader audiences, and to get this show out there to the masses. We need your help. Leave a rating, a review. It takes 20 seconds and it's free. And if you do want to support the channel monetarily and become a member, you'll get access to early interviews with ad-free, raw, sometimes weeks in advance. So it's really a perk that I think came in handy for, an interview that we just did, Tim Phillips, just as an example. So really, really, it means a lot to me, everyone who joins the membership as well. So all those links will be in the description. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.